friends. So the first two things you did were review of 6th grade so that we can use those 6th grade skills on triangles now and on shapes. So it's called polygon similarity, and there's just 3 problems that I need to teach you. So the number one question people ask me is, what does similar mean? So for shapes to be similar, congruent meant that they had the same size and the same shape, so all the angles and all the sides were equal. Similar means they're going to have the same shape, but a different size. So I'll show you what that means with triangles. So let's say you have a right triangle. 90 degrees there, maybe there's 60 degrees there, and 30 degrees. You can have a much larger triangle with those same angle measures. You could still have 90 degrees, 30 degrees, and 60 degrees, but these obviously are not the same size. This is much bigger. So having the same shape means the same angles, but either a larger version or a smaller version of it. So that's what similar means. And there's a mathematical rules that make you a similar polygon. So how can you tell if 2 polygons are similar? Because these look similar. So don't just say yes. So they do have all the same angles. The purple angles are congruent, the orange angles are congruent, the blue angles are congruent. But the sides are obviously different shapes. But you can still be similar, you just have to check all 3 of them. You can't just say it looks similar. So this is how you check it. So you take the corresponding side, so the side with purple and orange is 12, and the side with purple and orange is 42. You have to see what that reduces down to. You have to put it in a fraction, you have to put it in a ratio, and then you have to reduce it. You can divide that by, 6? I know I'm reducing on a calculator, but... So it reduces down to 2/7. Divide by 6, divide by 6. Or you can use the Desmos Scientific Calculator to reduce your fractions for you. So you have to, all 3 pairs of sides have to reduce down to the same thing. This is called the scale factor. They all have to be proportionate. So they're not equal, but they do have to be proportionate. So let's check the next one. Purple blue side is 14, purple blue side is 49. And I say that because sometimes the triangles are spun around, and you have to make sure that you have the corresponding side, whether it's spun around or not. Ew. So if you do 14/49, reduce that down either by calculator or divide by 7, divide by 7. So these match, they have the same scale factor, but if you check on the 20 and the 72, if it's not, then you can't, then these are not similar. It has to be all the same, so you do have to check all 3. Does 20/72 reduce down to 2/7? 20 ABC 72 is 5/18. So even if you have a no, no, yes, yes, no, you still say these are not similar. So the corresponding pairs of sides have to be proportionate. They're not going to be equal. You have to check them all. That's why we've been practicing equivalent ratios, because now you have to find equivalent ratios on triangles. I hope that makes sense. And then the last thing you're going to ask yourself is, how do I find the scale factor? So this one we were just checking to see what the scale factor was. So sometimes they'll give you the sides and just say, what is the scale factor? So you are allowed to assume that these are similar. You don't even have to check them. But it's the same idea. You take the 2 sides and reduce it down. So obviously you can't use the x, but if you take 21 and 27, let's do, they could want the big to small, or they could want small to big. I'll just do both. They'll tell tell you which order they want it. They'll say, what's the scale factor of this to this? And whatever they said first is what's going to go in the top of your fraction. So let's do the big one to the small one. What is 27 over 21 reduced down to? Don't judge me. Ew. 9 over 7. That's the answer. That's the scale factor. That means if you take the large triangle and you multiply it by 9 over 7, you will get these answers. If you don't believe me, test it out. 27 times 9 over 7 is 21. 27 times 9, ABC, 7. That is not what I meant. What am I trying to say? Oh, you take the 21, I'm right. You take the 21 and times it by 9 over 7, you will get the 27. So think of it as the scale factor is the difference between them. If you go small to big and do like 21 over 27, your scale factor is just going to be 7 9. So you just have to watch to see which way they want you to discuss it. And if somebody else picks different sides, they're still going to get the same answer, as long as you pick corresponding sides. So if Susie uses the 18 and the 14, if you don't believe me, 18 ABC 14, second PRB, second ABC. If you guys don't have a calculator, your phone calculator is not going to cut it for this chapter. You're going to have to use this Desmos Scientific Calculator to reduce all your fractions. Oh my God. 18, ABC, 14. Apparently I don't know how to use a freaking calculator. See? You get the same thing. So scale factor is all about putting corresponding sides into a fraction and then reducing it. I believe that's all. Go do your work.